Iran at the end of the 19th century continues with the same lifestyle which had started more than 1,000 years ago. Same systems of agriculture, production and transportation are repeated generation after generation. Meanwhile, in Europe, in the light of Renaissance, societies have gone through serious changes. Major changes in people's understanding, morale and behavior. The old systems of kings' dictatorships and churches' inquisitions have been placed by the rules of laws of the constitutions. In 1789, Bastille prison gates were demolished and the Great French Revolution took place. At the same time, Agha Muhammad Khan took the power in Iran too and started the Qajar dynasty. Western world was on the road of progress and was taking major steps in that direction. But in Eastern world, especially in countries with tribal ties like Iran, there were no such progresses. After Agha Muhammad Khan, Fath Ali Shah for 37 years, Muhammad Shah for 13 years, and Nasruddin Shah for 50 years ruled the country. However, none of them took any steps in the direction of progress in the society. Qajar dynasty reigned for the period of the time between French Revolution all the way to the end of the World War I. In all that time, if an Iranian patriot reaches to a high position in the government, Shah and his men make sure he is disappeared. Qa'im Maqam Farahani was the competent minister of Muhammad Shah, but was murdered by conspiracy. And Amir Kabir, who was minister during Nasruddin Shah's ruling, had to face the same fate. But this problem of resisting any changes was beyond the Shah and his surrounding men. It was the Iranian society which was resisting any fundamental changes. And of course, the reason for it was the economy. Same system of productions operating the same way for centuries without any changes. After the tragic defeat of Iran against Russia, Iranian government in Fath Ali Shah's time had to sign Golestan and Turkmenistan treaties. By signing those treaties, Iran gave up big regions of west of Caspian Sea to Russia. In that great humiliation, Abbas Mirza, Iranian army commander who had thought Iranians would defeat Russians by acts of bravery, asked his French military advisor about the reason of the defeat. This question was in the mind of many Iranians too. The French advisor responded, "Science, logic, and social orders have changed the societies in Europe. Even wars are carried out in such manners." Russians were taking advantage of this point, and you were not. But regional economic changes were about to make some big changes in Iran too. In the second half of 19th century, Iranian international trade rose by 800%, and during the same period, the foreign investment rose from 0 to 12 million British pounds. Also, Iran was on the path of telegraph line from London to New Delhi, and now was able to communicate with the outside world. With the imports of foreign goods into Iran, a small class of foreign-dependent bourgeois were born, and the old, traditional merchants were under pressure. Iranian constitutional revolution had two driving forces. First was the economic force, which unified the domestic merchants from all over the country. They found themselves in contradiction against the new bourgeois who were importing goods from abroad. They were angry at the government too, because the Qajar government was backing the new class of merchants. The importers were enjoying all the custom benefits, and the traditional merchants were under pressure. So, for the first time, merchants from Tehran, Isfahan, Tabriz, Mashhad, Shiraz, Kerman, and other cities found themselves in one united front, and they created their network. The Shiite clergies were able to get the leadership of this recently united front. We can see this formation clearly in the tobacco movement. The traditional Bazar class was angry about the unlimited concessions which were given to a British company to control all the tobacco production and its distribution in Iran. Shiite clergies declared tobacco as haram, meaning prohibited by Islam. All of a sudden, everybody puts the tobacco pipes aside and stops smoking tobacco. In order to break the strike, Nassereddin Shah ordered Ayatollah Ashtiani to smoke tobacco in public or leave the city of Tehran. He is ready to leave. People gather round and stop him from leaving. Government forces enter the conflict and start to shoot the protesters. 7 people got killed and many more injured. The situation gets more out of control day by day. Finally, the government gives up and cancels the tobacco contract with the British company and pays them 500,000 British pounds in damages. The tobacco uprising was a turning point in Iranian history because the Shiite clergies got aware of the critical role they were playing in the society. The second force of the revolution was the intellectual elite. The wave of new ideas which had started from Europe reached to Iran too. Fortunately, there were enough intellectuals in Iran who were able to put the society on that way. Intellectuals like Mirza Jahangir Khan, publisher of Sur Israfil newspaper, Malikul Mutakallimin, founder of the Revolutionary Council, Mirza Abbas Qoli Khan Ghazvini, leader of Adamiyat Committee, Tagizadeh, Tabriz representative, Ali Akbar Dehkhoda, writer of Dehkhoda Dictionary, Mirza Agha Khan Kermani, founder of social science in Iran. Even though there were great differences between the demands of the Bazar class and the intellectual elite, but in the fight against the corrupt government and foreign-supported bourgeois class, they were in the same front. Their union, of course, would not go far if they were not joined by some brave fighters who created the fighting arm of the revolution. Fighters like Sattar Khan, Bagher Khan, Yefrem Khan, and Samsam al-Saltaneh. The most important incident leading up to the revolution was the assassination of Nassereddin Shah, Sultan of the century. In 1896, the government was getting ready to celebrate the bicentennial of Nassereddin Shah's reign. One day, he and his entourage were going to Shah Abdulazim Holy Shrine. This was a routine religious ritual for the Qajar kings. But this time, destiny had another plan waiting for the Sultan of the century in the Holy Shrine. Mirza Reza Kermani, which in the past had been tortured by the government, had vowed to avenge. After consulting with Jamaluddin Asadabadi in Istanbul, he heads for Shah Abdulazim Holy Shrine. He resides in one of the chambers and stays put, waiting for the right moment. In that fateful day, a single shot from Mirza Reza Kermani's gun did the job and murdered the king.